Hey, Heather.
Hey, Steven.
You know what we should do?
What should we do?
You know what we should do?
Ooh, say it.
We should get into it! That's Heather.
That's Steven.
Let's get into Gig
Live. Get up in this gig, girl.
Get up in that gig. Get your coin. Get your money. Speaking of which, Heather, how was your week this week?
My week was good. I took a trip to a theme park on Sunday with some friends who were in town. And when I say it fucking poured, it monsooned. There was hail, there was flooding, there was lightning. It was a mess, but it was okay because I had some cocktails. I had some really good cocktails, actually. We need to talk about that offline because I had some great cocktails. Went to a birthday party with my mom, and that was fun. She held a snake.
Ooh.
I know, I have the picture. It's hilarious. We lost Richard Simmons this
We did.
week.
And Sharon Doherty.
And you call her Sharon Doherty?
Shannon?
Shannon.
Shannon?
Yes.
Shannon? And
Yes.
then some other guy recently.
Richard Simmons?
No, there was another one.
Dr. Ruth?
Yes. Dr. Ruth.
And Shelley Duvall.
And Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Duvall. And I'm
My
not,
sanity is
I'm
also
not
gone.
going to say out loud what I want to say in my head.
And my weekend.
Because somebody has to perhaps maybe take a flight this next week. And I'm not trying to be on the no-fly list.
Yeah, for real.
So, yeah. How was your week, Steven?
My week was much like every other week where I'm ridiculously busy. I've been finishing the set for Seussical. I've been making costumes like a madman.
And where is Seussical going to be taking
At the
place
Imagine
at?
Performing Arts Center in Oviedo. Come support me, please.
Yes.
Please, please.
The town of chickens.
Everybody says that. I have
Chicken
not
town.
seen one chicken. I can look outside the fucking window right now and see six
Peacocks.
peacocks from right here. But I have not seen a chicken in Oviedo at all.
Oh, yeah, it's Chicken Town.
It's not fair. I want some of the chickens here. Do you think I could steal some and
Chicken
mix
and
them in with
alligators. You got Lake Jessup there. That's the most alligator-infested lake. I'm sorry. I think it's the most alligator-infested body of water besides the Everglades.
Alligated? Alligated?
Did I say alligator?
Alligated.
Alligated.
Alligated. Gators. So, but anyway,
But
so
yeah.
you had a busy week.
Yeah, other than that, I just, watching the world fall apart in front of me. It's fine. But speaking of something that doesn't necessarily, well, sometimes they do fall apart, but
Yeah.
those gigs, man, like
Gig
we've
life.
all done, well, okay, I'm not gonna say we all have, but if you're a performer, you've done some shitty gigs.
I think everybody's had at least one bad gig.
or weird gig, or
Weird,
like you want me to do
yeah.
what in front of who? But before we get started on that, I think it's time to introduce someone who is no stranger to an awful gig.
Nope.
Please welcome to the pod, Lindsay.
Hey, Lindsay's here.
I am alligated and ready to go.
Lindsay's our first podcast guest. This is exciting.
Yeah, you're the first one.
I am so honored.
We should break the champagne bottle and just like christen the microphone.
Just something more for Q to chew on.
Oh my God, the glass.
Let me
The
tell you,
champagne.
anytime, okay, so we have a friend of ours who comes over here a lot, and his name is David, but I call him Hurricane David.
Oh, God.
Because he just breaks everything. Like glasses. Andy and I were in New York on a big trip in like 2013. He somehow smashed the back of the toilet. Like,
Oh,
I mean,
no.
smashed, gone, water. He glasses everything, but every time there's a glass, like Coupon will find the glass and put it in his mouth.
No.
I've wrestled
buddy.
more glass out of his mouth than anything.
Oh
There's
my
better
God.
ways to get attention.
No? Like he
Look
doesn't
at him.
get
He's
enough.
like, I didn't do it.
He's
Talking
on Steven's
about
lap
me?
right now.
I
in case
know.
you can't see this.
Yes. So, oh my
So,
gosh.
Lindsay,
yeah.
why don't you tell us a little bit about, tell them a little bit about you.
Yes.
I've known these two since the dawn of time.
Literally.
Since 2000 BC.
From
and-
gathering and hunting days.
Yeah. Cave drawings.
Which is why I thought that the gig stories would be such a good topic of conversation
Yes.
because of all, we've seen each other grow through, our early 20s into our 30s and so on and so on. And so all these years we've known each other, we've watched each other kind of grow and mold ourselves into who we are today. But through all of that, we've all done gigs together and separately and shared these ridiculous stories. And I just thought, like, we always commiserate and talk about these things. So I was like, that would be such a good podcast.
It would be, yes.
Oh, it's going to be.
Yes.
It already is.
And not only do we have our stories, but we also pulled the Facebook audience as we typically do. So we're going to get to the Facebook gigs because there's some funny ones that we got.
Yes.
So
And it'll throw us under the bus a little bit.
Oh,
less, too.
Lord.
Oh my God, yes. So
Yeah.
before we get into the really bad gigs,
Yeah.
do you either of you have like a gig that stands out in your life? Like that was literally the best time of my life.
Ooh.
And this is a gig, not like a regular job.
Yeah. For me, there's two in particular that stand out. One is when we got to go to Chicago with
Yes.
Ginger.
Oh.
So Lindsay and I got to sing back up for Ginger Minge, friend of the pod, at Market Days in Chicago. It was, well, it didn't start off great because the flight was delayed we were supposed to get in the day before and we were supposed to get to Chicago at like a decent time. We were going to put our shit down in the hotel. We were going to rest, eat, go to a studio, run through the entire set and just
full
chill.
band rehearsal. And Ginger Minge, first of all, if you don't follow him, or just such a good human,
Yes.
such a great human. CJ, his partner, is amazing too. They do some hilarious, great work, but also like really great music, and just he's such a great human. I cannot stress this enough.
Yes.
And he's so much fun to work with, and such a good friend, and so freaking talented as a musician. So leave it to Ginger to do a full band.
Yeah.
Full band for Market Days. Could have easily sung to tracks.
Yeah.
But got together a full band of local musicians.
Yeah, they were incredible.
Yes.
So nice.
And
Everyone was so nice.
so fantastic performers, and everybody gathered together, and everybody was so professional because we came in hot because of this ridiculous
We didn't even get a
story.
chance to rehearse. We had to rehearse at Orlando in the airport, and like the bowels. It was like the part of the airport I'd never been to before. It was like the bowels of where you go to like pick up your rental car, or if you do a shuttle, like the places where literally no one is there unless there's some crazy flight delay. And so I, being me, I get to the airport early because I have such bad airport anxiety. And so I was there early and I knew she was going to be late. And I'm trying to convince her. I was like, come to the airport and drink with me, please. And she's like, girl, no, I'll come get you. And I was like, no, I'm already past security. I'm not coming. If I had been like in front of security, absolutely I would have been like, please come get me. But I'm like, I'm already past security. I already waited in the line. I've already done all this shit. I'm good. Like, I'll wait. But because I'm a terrible flyer, I had taken a 20 milligram edible, but it was a capsule. So the capsule disperses over time. So I was waiting at the Carrabba's bar, and I only had 2 glasses of wine there, and they were massive, and I hadn't eaten. So I'm sitting there, and they bring over like bread, and I was talking to like this gay couple. They were wonderful.
She texted me and she's like, I found 2 gay guys.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Because I
good.
felt so bad that I was not there yet.
I was more than fine, but I was just so fucking high. And then they had the therapy dogs out. So I was like sitting with the therapy dogs. Then I decided to explore the airport hotel, which I'd never been in before. So I sat at the bar in the airport hotel and ordered like all this food. I was just sitting there by myself, and I was like, can I get my drink to go? So I have like one picture. I'll have to like share it with y'all. And it's just a selfie of me right outside the airport hotel. And I'm like,
And I felt so bad. And I have to say, I would have been, she is chronically early. I'm chronically late. We're
That's
the
an
same
understatement.
Human. We're like the same human. It's weird. We're sisters from another mister,
Yes.
as you would say. And it's crazy that we found each other because we are so similar in so many ways. However, the biggest difference is our punctuality. I am not punctual. However, I will say that the reason why I'm usually late is because I have debilitating Crohn's disease. And we'll just get that out there.
Let's go make excuses already. Let's start.
And I was flaring so badly. It was probably the sickest I'd ever been.
Oh
And it attacks you randomly. It's autoimmune. And so and I didn't eat all day. Nothing was even in my system, and I was sick as a dog. And I thought, and then I see the delay is 9 hours long.
Yeah,
and so
it just
I'm
kept
at
going
home.
and going and going and
Yes.
going. Like I was like, how? Like I've never seen anything like it where it would
It
just.
was the worst delay I've ever seen.
Yeah,
in my
by
life.
far. Mhm. Knock
In
on
my
wood.
life, and so I'm sitting at home just sweating and like just so violently sick, and I was like, I can either be ill like this at my house
That's
or
true.
at literally the worst place in the world, which is the airport, especially the Orlando airport. Shout out to MCO because they get a lot of hate, and I used to play music there for
Yeah.
many years. They are very, very wonderful people. They do take your feedback. Like they do. I was one of the first musicians to ever play there actually. And they used to say like, ladies and gentlemen, please join us in the lounge.
like over the loudspeaker.
Yeah.
Oh
music
shit.
by Lindsay Lee.
Now
It was-
get on your flight, Smith family.
yeah, exactly. And so I appreciate them very much, and they do listen to all the feedback and stuff, and they understand they get like 3 million passengers a day, and they get it. It's a high traffic airport, but nobody wants to be in an airport sick, especially not a high traffic one. So I knew Heather could hold it down, you know, and I was like, find the nearest Carrabba's bar and find the nearest gay guys, and that's
Check and
exactly
check.
what she did. But she stuck it out, and then finally, eventually, I was like, let's rehearse. I'll get there. If I get sick, I get sick. It is what it is. But it was the best trip ever, but it was the sickest I had ever
I was
been
gonna
in my
say,
life.
and then when we finally did get to Chicago, you left your phone in the Uber,
Oh
so
my
we had to
God.
like track down, and the guy was lying to us, and we were like, we can see
Yes.
through the track, like Apple, that you're nearby, and he was like, oh, it's gonna cost. We're like, we're just get here, like please, sir. So it was this wild day, and I always have this philosophy because it happened when I was a server and a bartender. If I had a really shit night at work where like I didn't get tipped and people were awful, my next shift was always like the best. It was like clockwork. And so that's kind of like what happened. It was this crazy ass long delayed day. And then the next day was everything, like getting to perform on the stage, and we went to dinner after, and in between we went to the Starbucks Reserve. That was all like
Crazy.
a blur.
It's a full bar at Starbucks
Yeah.
in Chicago, y'all. Chicago, that was my first time in Chicago, and I
I
have
want
to
to go
say,
back. Yeah.
it was such a great place,
was
and
so
such
fun.
a great place for LGBTQIA plus.
Look at you.
Thank you. I drank a glass of champagne before this, so that's why I didn't get it right the first time. But it's such a good community there, and such good support too, and such a great turnout for Ginger's show too. But oh my God, we had such a great time there. But the
so much
leading
fun.
up to it can
Was
be
rough.
bad gig story, but then the gig itself was wonderful, of course. But imagine a 9-hour flight delay.
Yeah.
Heather and I are separated from each other. I'm violently ill.
I
with
was
the worst
high
flare
as-
up of all time. And I was out of prednisone, which is what, when you have an autoimmune disease, prednisone keeps you alive essentially until you get your next infusion, whatever, you know. So steroids are key. Well, I stupidly was out of them, and I found one 15 milligram prednisone at the bottom of my purse.
Oh
I'll
my
never
God.
forget that.
Fish it out.
Forbidden candy.
And it was covered in hair, lint, and makeup. And I said, I'm doing this
Well, YOLO.
for the, you know, like to get through the gig. And that is what got me through that gig. And I remember, and then we converged at the Enterprise.
Yes.
The bowels of Enterprise rent a car, as you say. And there was like stained chairs only.
Oh my God, they're
Like,
so gross.
Okay, can we just quickly, why do you have carpeting and why do you have linen?
Yeah.
Make everything like an easily wipeable, cleanable surface. Pour bleach
Nope.
on it. Guys, we need to get more bleach and Fabuloso
Bleach, I know.
in the airports. Now,
Call him up. You know him.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know. It's been a while, but I should get into. So we sat there, and I remember Heather and I were rehearsing, and a random
man,
stranger,
so mad.
okay, walks up to the stained chairs, and there's like 4 of them clustered together, and Heather and I have clearly monopolized this area and taken it over as ours, and we're not annoying, okay? We know how to behave in public.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
We-
I've been a lot of
Listen,
places.
We were quiet, and also it was like
Did you just hear Heather's laugh?
And it was
Do you think she knows how to be quiet? Rewind
listen.
it 10 seconds.
Listen, we could be loud and crazy, but we knew that we were in a crowded airport, yada yada. But we had our own little section. We were not bothering anyone.
Nobody.
We were very lightly singing, and
Yeah.
we are singers. We were on key, and it sounded good. So we're just singing over this stuff because we are currently at that time missing the rehearsal that's happening in another state. That we're So we're like, we got to do our due diligence here and rehearse together. So we're rehearsing, and some random dude walks up and sits
So mad. Right by
in the chair. There's a cluster of 4 chairs that's very isolated from everything. And Heather and I are clearly working on a project, and we're singing through songs, and this dude just comes up and sits in the middle of us.
Yeah.
Did he think it was like a show?
I don't know because
No,
was-
we're very
Like you
And
guys
what
were like
made it-
busking?
not even because
God,
we were.
no.
It was that whole bowel where, again, like it's no man's land where you go for rental cars. There's never anybody there. So it was completely empty. There was not a soul down there,
Nope.
which is why we were like, okay, cool. We can sing down here because there's nobody here.
Yeah.
So
Dude just walks
all
right
these
up.
seats, all of these seats.
And I
open,
have video,
sat
so we can upload.
right
Ooh.
there.
I have video.
And it's like,
It's right there.
it's just like when you go to the movies and you'll sit somewhere
God.
and the whole theater's open and that one person comes and sits right next
Oh
to
my
you.
gosh.
And it's like,
yes. And speaking of my Crohn's stuff, when I get infusions, I have to go to an infusion center, and we're like shoulder to shoulder to shoulder people, and you're separated by a little like plastic curtain, but there's 15 or 20 chairs in a row, and it's every single time. And I talk to the nurses about this all the time. They're like, you are so right. Every time I sit down to get an infusion, and you have to be careful because you're immunocompromised. You
Yeah.
got to sit too close. 15 chairs will be available out of the 20 in the room,
And right there.
they sit
Every
right next to you. I'm like, what are you
See.
doing?
Wait, you get to pick your own infusion chair?
Well, yes, but it's not as glamorous as it sounds.
I mean, it sounds like, okay. Do you have something on the veranda? Something on the
Space
night?
lounge,
it's like when you go get a pedicure, like you can pick any
Yes.
chair you want and you're not going to sit.
I've always been told to go sit in that chair.
Yes, well, the nail salon is different. They're like,
Yeah.
you sit there, you deal with this person, this is who you're getting, and that's what you're getting. So that's different. But this man sat in the midst of it all, so we were like,
so annoying.
okay, so we did our thing. I recorded it because I was like, this random person is here, and I record everything. So I will send that to you so you have proof of this. But we eventually did get on the flight, and it was great. And then I was so ill that I was like, I need to get steroids ordered to the nearest pharmacy, but
Yeah.
until then we need to get in this hotel, this adorable boutique hotel that we were staying in. Shoot, I wish I remembered the name.
Me
'cause it was so
too,
cute.
yeah.
And very long story short, the cab driver in Chicago, he was the nicest guy until I left my phone in the car.
Correct, yeah.
Now the phone was left in the car because we
Crohn's.
stopped short. Yes, I was so sick, so I wasn't I was just like, don't puke in this car. Like, that was my goal. Was like, do not puke on the plane. Don't just make it to the. And then we were sharing a room, so I was like, I'm so sorry in advance. So but we were trying to make the most out of it. I drank a little bit of wine. That actually settles my stomach a little bit. So it really does. It's amazing.
Mine too.
I told my doctor that, and he looked at me like I was
Like,
a
what?
complete idiot. And he's like, please don't have more than 4. That's what he said.
Too late,
Yeah, he's
sucker.
very
4
disappointed.
bottles.
I know. I was like, you didn't specify.
Quarts.
But we're in the cab, and the dude slams on his brakes because it was very rainy, and it was like late. It was like a Friday or Saturday night too, in the middle of downtown Chicago. So we slammed on the brakes in rainy traffic, and the phone flew off my lap, and I was just I was so sick at the time that I was like, I've got to get in this hotel. So I did not. I grabbed all my stuff, and the second we got to the front desk, I was like, I left my phone in the car.
Yep.
So then I don't have a phone, so I have to use Heather's phone to track it. So very long story short, we tracked the phone. I'm watching it go all over downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
I'm blowing the phone up. The phone is picking up and hanging up on me because the dude is just trying to keep my phone at that point.
Yeah.
And then someone from the cab grabbed the phone. It was like, this phone keeps ringing. I was like, stay on the phone with me. This is my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm a talent agent outside of the performance world. So I have a talent agency. So I hire other people, and I have a photo booth, a company, and lots of other DJs and bands and musicians working for me. So I had somebody like currently working for me that was about to extend, and I was like, oh my God, I have to get my phone. And then I have to get to the pharmacy, and I have to talk to the doctor, and like all this stuff. Oh my God, it was a nightmare. So I'm like, this will get better. This will get better, Heather. I swear to God, you're not going to hate me by the end of this. And we've been through so much.
I was going to say, I was just like, okay, I'm fine. I'm good.
So bless her heart, like I'm using her phone to like mega track my phone. And finally I bribed the man. I had to bribe the man with actual cash.
Literally.
I said, cash in my hand. I am very sick. Please, I will pay you cash. And I paid the guy like $40 or 60, like an exorbitant amount of cash, and just threw it at him and grabbed that phone because he was going to steal my phone.
Yeah.
Oh my! Why he should have just turned it off.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to tell criminals how to crime.
But he's probably he was stupid. He didn't think to do that. Yep. And so it ended up being an amazing day. Yes. And then I would say gig number 2. Well,
before you get off on that, I just want to say I also have a Ginger Chicago gig story.
Oh, that's right.
We went for the very first time of Continental. I was there, and then speaking of cell phones left in cabs, this is kind of funny. This is actually where I originally met Tia Devine as well, because Tia was up there helping Lee Shannon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I love you, Tia.
So I had met a boy at prelims.
Ooh, yes.
So I went on a little date. Back up. Ginger and I on a plane from Chicago.
Yeah.
Already good.
We're both poor, young, much younger. This is for like forever ago.
Yes.
And we're on this plane, and we really don't have any extra money, but the promoter gave us his credit card. So by the time we landed in Chicago, there was this game of Ginger and I holding our 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know how many whiskey Cokes, right? Whiskey diets. And there's hitting turbulence, and we're just sitting here laughing.
That's great.
Trying to we're playing a game of keep the drink in the cup.
Turbulence and alcohol is the best combination ever. You just sit back and enjoy. Like you don't even care.
It's like a thriller.
If you're sober, it's like I'm like, this is it. I'm gonna die.
You're gonna die.
But if I've had the champagne fuzz, I'm just like,
it's fine.
It's a lovely ride.
Yeah. So then Ginger and Tia went out for an adventure that night, and they came back. And this was right around the time when the iPhone first came out, because somebody left one in the cab, and they spent the evening watching like YouTubes and stuff. So there's 2 that
on their phone,
on that phone. Yes.
Totally checks out.
So I'm sure you've seen it. There's the video of the girl who's like in a New York train, and she's yelling, and she's like, I'm President Charlie, salad. It's like bad lip reading, but she's like yelling, you can't understand what it is. So to this day, I still say salad because of that. And then the other one was a video of Carol Channing. And she was doing a news interview because the Washington Mutual that she goes to was robbed. And so she was like old and senile, and she's like, this is the first time I've ever lived in somewhere that wasn't a hotel, and we were robbed. And
Awami was robbed.
That still sticks with me to this day. But yes, your other one was
when I did the circus.
Oh, the circus, right.
The circus gig.
Makes me so happy.
You got me the circus gig.
Oh my God.
And it was so much fun. Everybody was so nice. Like, so long story short, so Lindsay calls me. She's like, hey, I got booked for this gig. I can't do it. I'm double booked. It's being a circus ringmaster essentially. And I'd already planned going on a cruise. And so I did this literally, I think 2 days after I got off the cruise.
It was very quick.
But the money was very lucrative. And I had to learn the script. And literally, I think it was like 12 hours I had to learn. But it was just basically like, Bellow Knock, the blah, blah, blah writers. Now, here's the thing. I only got to go through everything once without the acts.
Oh, God.
So I came in the Thursday or Friday before, and they had me like sing the songs because The Greatest Showman was hot at the time, and I'm pretty sure it was illegal. But they had me sing like, this is the greatest show. This is me, Tightrope. I feel like there was another one. But anyway, so they had me singing. I had to go up at one point because you came, didn't you?
No, I was working, remember?
No, that's Nathan came. You came. Yes, Nathan and you came.
It was Gay Days weekend, and I was booked solid.
Yes, it was Pride. It was Pride.
Yes.
And so, because Gay Days, this was in
October.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
but again, it was Pride. I was booked.
I missed Pride. That was the only time I had missed Pride up to that point. And
I think he was doing Jeffrey that year.
oh, really? Oh.
I think so.
Yeah.
Not the guy, the play.
The money was really good. But like I was saying, I hadn't seen the show. So part of the circus was under Bello Knock, who's been on America's Got Talent. Really cool guy. And so I hadn't seen his act before. So part of his act is he pretends to fall a lot.
Oh, God.
So
Oh my God.
I
Send
literally
me
was
over
like,
the edge.
"Huh?"
Oh, yeah,
on the
no,
microphone
wouldn't be
because
doing
I
that.
hadn't seen it. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be on the news because they're falling and I don't know. But it was really cool. Really quick turnaround. And for me, any gig where I get paid that day
Hell
is
yeah.
my favorite.
Yes.
And like before I left, they're like, here's your check. And I was like, bless you. Thank you.
Yes.
So
Good
those
people.
are like, yeah. So those are like the two. And I still talk to like Annalise Knock, like his daughter. Like we'll all still kind of like chat on Facebook. And I shared a room with the trapeze artist. And we had the best time just like shooting the shit. Because like to me, what they do is so fascinating. Like
Yeah.
they're a part of this troupe. And now, like, one of them is in Vegas. Another one's at Drawn to Life at Disney
Oh.
Springs. So it was really cool getting to, like, talk to them. And, like, they all literally ran away with the circus. Like, the circus is their lives. And so it was really cool spending time with them. So those were my top two I could think of. What about you, Linz?
I would say that the Chicago one was one of my favorites
Yeah.
because when you have an autoimmune thing, it's very isolating and it's really like sad sometimes.
Yeah.
But I was surrounded by such good energy in that flare up that I couldn't not have a good
Yes.
time. And
I forgot about the Ritz-Carlton, too.
oh
We
my
stopped
God.
randomly at the
We had-
Ritz-Carlton.
It was so great. It was like one of those things where I was so freaking grateful for having this fantastic circle of people that we were laughing. I mean, like I
Stupid.
said, I can't say enough great things about Ginger, but the circle that he keeps close to him, these people are so funny, hilarious. Honey
Honey
West.
Fucking Honey. Love Honey.
Shout out to Honey West. Oh my gosh. All
Crying.
the friends. And we went out to
Crying.
RPM Italian that night.
Which was like a fancy ass Italian restaurant.
so
And as soon as we
much
walked
fun.
in, I was like, oh God, we're gonna
Oh
get
my
kicked
God.
out. We're gonna get kicked out.
We're gonna get kicked out, but we had our own room, which was great. But that was
Oosh.
such a good
I know,
because
yeah.
we went all over the place. We just explored Chicago. We drank old fashions at a Starbucks, which was ridiculous.
Had one of the best desserts I've ever had in my entire life. That peanut
Yeah.
butter. It was Wonder Bread ice cream, which sounds weird on paper, but it was vanilla ice cream that they like infused with Wonder Bread and then grape sorbet with this like gourmet peanut. So it was like an upscale peanut butter and jelly. Would I ever order it if I saw it on a menu? No, because we had a conversation. Oh yeah, we talked about this. I think it was before you got to Ollie's. My love-hate emphasis on hate relationship with peanut butter. Like I just
Yeah.
don't like peanut butter. But that shit was fucking fire. So we're literally at the Ritz-Carlton. We went to the bar to drink. They all recognized Ginger.
Of course.
And, like,
Someone
the
was
chef.
like, "Oh, I know him."
Yeah, the
And
chef came out and brought us
pastry chef
one of
all
each
things.
dessert. And so we're not even sitting in the bar. We're sitting in like this lobby area.
Getting
There were
food.
right,
It
and there were
was
like these
amazing.
bathrooms. There was the bar, and there was this kind of like almost like a den, like a sunken area.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just sitting there shooting the shit. And meanwhile, every song that was playing, I was like, "This is a vibe." So I was like Shazamming songs.
It was so good.
It was a really good time. So
We
yeah.
had such a good time. So I would say Chicago was great because I was with you. I was
Mm-hmm.
with people that just kept me sane in a really crazy time
Mm-hmm.
that otherwise would have been isolating. If I was on another gig that
Yeah.
where I didn't know everybody, I would have been holed up in a hotel room. And I will say that Heather unfortunately had to room with me during this time.
It was
and
fine.
I was devoid of
In the Thunder
the amount of
Road.
steroids I should have had, I did not have. I'll never do that again. But I remember literally crawling across the floor at one point, completely naked. I had to take, when you're just so sick that you just are like ripping off clothes.
No.
And I hope you never get to that point.
I'm like, first of all, I'm a guy, so guys are the worst
You're
at being
always
sick.
shirtless,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Well, no, it's just like if I'm sick, I'm just like, I'm not moving. I'm gonna lay here. I'll defecate in the bed. It's fine.
I was like, and I just remember Heather seeing me just like butt naked and like sweating and just walking across the room like Bigfoot in the middle of the night, like the skunk ape, just like, ugh. And she went, "Lindsay." I was like, You've
was like,
never
"Are
seen
you
me naked
okay?"
before in our friendship? And I was like, well, we just unlocked a new level. But
You get a badge for that.
But oh my God, what a fantastic time! What tops everything, I think, is that I went on tour with Tiffany and Debbie Gibson, and we went to Asia, and I went to. I never thought in my whole life, years and years ago. Now it's more like, yeah, I can go wherever I want.
Yeah.
But when you're like young and you're kind of imagining what your life is going to be like or your career is going to be like, you're like, there's no way I would ever get paid to go to Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was amazing to me. Like, not only did I get paid, but I got some free time to hang out and explore. And I never in my life thought I would go to Asia. It was so awesome. I got to go to Singapore, Thailand, and then the Philippines. So I got to see so many different parts of Asia. I cannot wait to go back there. Somebody please send me there. I will go immediately. I have my passport and it's ready. So it unlocked this like need to continue to travel and explore the world. Cause I think, you get locked into what you're doing at home and you're like, it might take some. No, like go and travel and do all the things. And the people that I met along the way were great. And the experiences were insane.
Yeah.
We had some crazy stuff.
Didn't you go to a ping pong show?
Oh my God, a ping pong show?
Okay. We did.
Oh, that kind of ping pong show.
No.
Oh, why did I go Forrest Gump? Not vagina ball popping.
All I had to do was make the sound.
Oh, I'm uncomfortable.
Why did you have to make the sound? No, the Bookend Baldies are okay. So the Bookend Baldies are Debbie Gibson's backup dancers. They also sing as well. Eddie and Buddy. They are the best people. They also have a podcast called The Bookend Baldies that is so freaking funny.
Yes.
They make me laugh so hard. Eddie is a regular cast member in Chicago on Broadway as well. And they tour together as like they do like like dance competitions and stuff like that. They are so fun. They made that trip so fun for us too. And it was really awesome to converge the two bands, like Tiffany's band and Debbie Gibson's band. And
There wasn't like a rivalry?
No, guys, I'm setting the record straight right now. There is no rivalry. They are friends and they hang out and they love each other very much like sisters. And it is very much like that. Like they love and respect each other.
How much were you paid to say that?
Oh my gosh, and Debbie's awesome and they're great people and her band is great. And the Bookend Baldies, oh my gosh, were so much fun. We were laughing and cackling the entire time. They were great. You guys have to meet them.
Steven, what's been the best gig that you've had that you can think of?
I think one of mine was, and I've worked for an event company every once in a while. They'd hire me to like host shows or whatnot. And I went down to Disney and basically, in one of the convention centers, got to host a ginormous game show, which I was like, yes, please. Headset mic, my videos on the side of me going there, playing all these games and just talking and being myself. I did about 15 minutes worth of prep work for that show. And I was like, hell yeah.
You don't need that, though. Yeah, you don't need it. Like, you naturally have that ability. So I would trust you wholeheartedly.
Yeah, well, hire me, bitch.
We're working on it. Can you go to Thailand?
I can. No. And one of the other ones, I used to do this gig every year, rip after COVID, but from somebody who is dead to me now would get us to go to Amelia Island, Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And we had the best gig. And they would
sad I never got to do
bring us in, put us up at the Ritz-Carlton for like several days. It was around Thanksgiving. And then they were like, here, you do use whatever you want here on this facilities. We had beautiful rooms, great views, all this stuff. We did about 1 hour of work, which was being characters at a dinner and just walking around and talking to people. And Howie showed up there. And basically we were, we were basically discount Who's from Whoville. We were called Hows. But we had the prosthetic noses and the silly costumes, and we'd literally just talk about Christmas for about an hour.
And that was it.
And then that was it. And then, of course, we had to be there on Thanksgiving Day because it was the day after our gig or whatnot. But then they were like, hey, well, part of your deal is you get this buffet, which is like $150 buffet per person. And if it's wasted on somebody like me who doesn't like nice things,
I don't eat meat, but I'm eating all the sides.
You're like chicken nuggets.
There was chicken nuggets in macaroni, but I didn't quite go there. But like Shaquiri getting like all the things I can't pronounce and just trying everything. Yeah. The bread though, they had lots of bread. It was real good.
And speaking of the person who shall not be named, another really fun gig that we got to do was the Versace Mansion.
Oh, the Versace Mansion.
So we got to this random company. I don't even remember like what type of company it was. It was like a travel company.
Sure.
So they hired us to do a couple numbers at the Versace Mansion.
They saw us at our brunch show.
Yeah, they came to brunch. They were like, we want you guys. So we had these, the biggest costume by far I've ever worn in my entire life. Like this big like hoop skirt out to here, the wigs. Like it was very much Madonna.
I was about to say is it Vogue or
Vogue?
It was
Vogue Madonna.
The giant bustles on the side, those period dresses, the big updo wigs with bird cages in them.
And so obviously it's a Versace Mansion. There's no dressing room. So we all were kind of in this one common area doing our makeup and everything.
It was like a dining room that was not being used.
So we got to walk around when we first got there for like the first hour. So they let us like walk around. So we went up to this, like they had like an observatory, all these things. But the one thing, so Moses, who was there with us, Moses and I, the one thing we always bonded over was like our connection to like the spiritual world. Mm-hmm. And so while we were there, he and I was like, are you feeling shit like I am? He's like, yes. And so you could definitely feel a certain energy there because obviously it's where Gianni Versace was murdered. Like literally people walk up and down those stairs every day where his blood was literally on the sidewalk. And so you could feel like almost this, it's hard to explain because he was a pretty private person. Like he kept a lot of things to himself and like his house was a sanctuary. So now that like people are in it and it's a restaurant.
Oh, it's like being abused. It's all sectioned up into like little hotel rooms now. And there's like little half rooms that don't do anything. The bathroom's a joke.
Yeah. And so it was really cool to at least say we were there. It was really difficult because dancing in character shoes on that cobblestone was a bit difficult. And it was mostly straight people.
It was all straight people, basically.
Except the guy that booked us. Yeah.
Yeah, and keep in mind, it's not just Heather and Steven. It's drag queens. Drag queens and other dancers. So we were all done to the nines.
Yeah. And so then after it was over, we were like, well, we're in Miami. It ended at like 10:30.
Yeah, it was relatively early.
Yeah, and we're like, well, we're in Miami. Let's go out. So that's
we did. Sure did.
We went to Twist, and we had so much fun at Twist. Then we ended up at some pizza place.
Falling asleep in a slice of pizza.
3 a.m. in the morning.
But again, Twist has carpet. Twist, please rip the carpet
Watch your drink.
up. Rip the carpet up and just put some bleach on the floor and just squeegee it every night.
Do you remember Parliament House when they had carpet in the piano bar?
Guys,
It was like a litter box every time you walked in. You're like, ugh. And eventually they're like, you know what? Let's just take up the carpet. And I was like,
oh, speaking of gig, I was playing at the Orlando airport once and I saw a guy like upchuck some type of something onto the carpet and he just kept on walking. It was great because that would have stopped me dead in my tracks, but I was like, you clearly have done this before. Like
on the
He
floor?
did like a puke and walk, yeah. And I was
got a schedule to keep.
I was playing music, and I'm just like,
I can
your
never.
steel drum.
Your favorite song. Just puked on the floor and just kept on walking. Please don't do that, guys.
No.
If you can make
what,
it,
am I supposed to find napkins?
Listen,
in the middle of a mall?
I would tell somebody. I would be like, hey, I'm so sorry. I did this. Like,
I'd been like, hey, I saw this other guy vomit over here. I just wanted to let you know.
Listen, but again, it all goes back to don't put carpet in a high traffic area.
Correct.
Trust me, please. If you've ever cleaned your carpets, you see what comes out of it.
Speaking of throwing up.
Oh, God,
no, I had a gig in Vegas. I got sent out to Vegas again to host an event.
Oh my God.
I was there for all of 18 hours.
Oh boy.
And a buddy of mine lives in Vegas now, and he's like, hey, my gig literally was 15 minutes of talking, and then I sent them to do something, and then came back and then presented, and that was it. Like I may have spoke for a total of 30 minutes. It was
Yes.
amazing.
Best.
Yes.
So my buddy, he's like, I'm picking you up. We're going out, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, great. So he takes me up. He takes me off the strip. We go to all these places.
Yes.
Before you know it, it's 4 a.m.
Yep.
My flight leaves at 6 a.m.
Oh,
So I'm like,
why?
well, guess we're going to the airport now. And I go to the airport and I'm like, okay, gotta get home. Burger King to absorb the alcohol. So now...
No, you did not.
Oh, I did. I didn't say all my choices in life are good. So then I get on the plane.
No.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
It's from Vegas to Miami, so it's packed.
And it's
like 5
very
hours.
Turbulent.
And
Very
I-
turbulent ride.
And I'm in the middle seat.
No.
Yes. So about
No.
30 minutes into this
Stop.
ride, I'm like, like I am cold
No.
sweating.
No, no, no,
I am
no, no,
heavy
no, no, no.
breathing. And then you just see my right hand. I don't break eye contact with it. There was no TVs. There was like the headrest. And I'm like just staring at the headrest, moving my hand towards this little pocket, not looking at it, just reaching in. And then I grab a little bag and I open it and I don't look. And then all of a sudden I go into the bag and then I roll it up and I put my hoodie over it and I held that bag of vomit for 6 hours.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. What did your seatmates do in response to...
I did not turn my head to find out.
God, you poor thing.
I think I went undetected, honestly.
Really?
I think I went
I
completely
went undetected
addicted.
puking on a plane once.
But-
except
but-
poor Ginger Minge is
I know.
involved in all of these
But it
discussions.
was as we landed, so it wasn't a super long time. And I was a dumbass, and I was like, "Oh, I can swallow it. It won't be a lot." And then I was
Ma'am!
like,
But
Oh.
it was a stomach bug. That's
Yes.
the thing is like.
"Oh, I was sick as I thought I wasn't going to be able to go with Ginger to her
Cursed by a
show."
child. Children are little petri dishes that disseminate germs.
Because
and-
I remember, like, when I got to, so this was another Chicago gig.
Gosh.
Chicago, you've been so good to us, and we've puked all over you. I'm so sorry.
I
God.
technically puked
And-
somewhere over Texas.
But, like,
the plateau.
oh my God. So we're in first class, and I just was not feeling hot. And I knew it was a bug because I felt the fever.
so bad for you
And just
on this.
everything.
Oh
And
my
so
God,
there's
dude.
that. And so thank God when we landed.
But
we get-
wait, hold on, you
yeah.
skipped the best part of this. As they were landing, she was trying not to throw up.
Yeah.
And then was like, I'm just going to pretend like I'm not, but kind of.
I should have just ran for the
How-
bathroom, but I was scared because I thought
were
that they were going to,
landing.
yeah, I was like, they're going to think I'm hijacking the plane.
Oh.
In reality, I should have, like, if it was now, I would have ran to the bathroom. I would have been like, I'm so sorry, I'm about to throw up. But I was like, I'll be fine. I was like, bloop. And so luckily I had a darker sweatshirt on, so I was able, and there was no puke bag in our seat. And so I was able to just kind of like, and and Ginger was also sick. Ginger had like
bronchitis
horrible,
or
yeah, it was
something.
like some sort of allergy thing.
Yes.
So we were both just a mess. And so we got in, we had a car waiting for us. We go in the car. I was just like closing my eyes in the car. So we get to the hotel. And we go to check in, and thank God Ginger was like, "Girl, I got you your own room." I was like, "Thank."
Oh my God.
Not that I wouldn't have. I would absolutely share a room with Ginger any day, but like I was just feeling like shit. And so, we go to check in, and I could start feeling the rumblings again. And I asked the guy behind the front desk. I was like, "Sir, where is your closest bathroom?" He was like, "Oh, you'll have to wait until you get your room key because our bathroom's down here under construction." I was like, "I'll be right back." So I went outside and I puked in the bushes.
I was about to
and there are these people walking by. They're like, "Yeah!"
They thought you were like hardcore partying.
Yeah, and I was just like, ugh. And so then the next day I wasn't throwing up the next day, but I was just that horrible nausea where you're hot as fuck. So Ginger was like, "Girl, like I will give you so much money if you can walk to Walgreens for me and get a neti pot." And I was
and
like,
you're like, I need a lobotomy.
well,
can't
I
get
was
you
like,
a nutty
no,
pot."
I will go because it was probably like, it was like low 40s, high 50s out.
Oh, so it probably felt
that's
great.
Oh,
good. You
it
needed
was
that cool
great.
air.
I went out in short
Oh,
sleeves
there's
and like
nothing like cold air
sweatpants.
when you're sick.
And I was just literally out there, just like the air was perfect. It was crisp. It was cool. It was just what I needed. So I like walked to Walgreens. I was able to get like some pho at a restaurant. So like I was
Yes.
okay later.
Pho is the most healing,
Right?
food for your stomach.
Because we didn't go to Roscoe's until like 8 or 9 that night. So I
What
had
was the
time.
gig? Did you?
Oh, it was the best. We had
See,
so
and
much
did
fun.
It didn't even make the top 2 list though.
Amazing. thing.
But I wasn't
And-
performing.
Okay.
I
Oh,
was
that's
I
fair.
was there to support Ginger as kind of like her assistant. I helped her like put her shoes on and zip her, and like we just went and had fun. It was, and she Minx and I went to the C2E2. It was like the Comic-Con of Chicago, and the people watching was fantastic.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
so crazy. I
Yes.
don't want to revolve everything around.
Now
the
you're our guest.
vomiting
Yes.
but what you experienced that day is very much what like having Crohn's and ulcerative colitis is like. This might turn into part 2 of like Crohn's and colitis, like
Right.
what it does to the human body or whatever. But I'll take that for the team. I used to be very very like secretive about it, but being more open about it is like, hey, we all have something messed up in our body.
Literally.
And that is what flares feel like. You could just at any time your body could just become violently ill, and you're terrified, and like you got to make the Walgreens run, man, and just cross your fingers. So I salute you for making that Walgreens run. Is very much what it's like. But speaking of drunkenness, and I want to bring up a really great gig story that I'm throwing
Lord.
Heather under the bus right now.
Oh,
shit.
wait,
I'm gonna say
my
another
30th
one?
birthday.
30th
Oh
birthday.
my god.
This actually comes from our socials as well. I know we didn't tap into the socials quite yet, but our friend Claudia mentioned we have a very good friend named Claudia who's been around since the dawn of time as well.
Yes.
And she was around for this, and she said, you have to talk about the Cherry Thump gig.
Oh my
my
god.
So Heather was the lead singer in a band called Cherry Thump here in Orlando.
It's a cover band. Yes.
Cover band, and they performed at a local venue here that was very like
Touristy.
Yes,
3-9,
So
yeah,
Very
yeah.
touristy.
Lots of transient people, but a lot of locals as well. And Heather celebrated her 30th birthday
Yep, sure
on
did.
the same day that she did a gig, and we all came to support. And boy, did we get
We got a
performance of
show.
lifetime.
Oh my God, 'cause you were there too,
Show.
Steven.
I sure
Yes.
was.
Yeah, so people were buying me shots, and I remember at one point looking behind me, and it looked like the Eiffel Tower.
It
was
did.
just,
It was like the Leaning
shot.
Tower of Pisa.
Yes.
It was just like 20 shot glasses. And it wasn't even like the little shot glasses. It was like
They
the
were
rocks
big
shot
ones.
glasses.
Yes, and it started off okay, and then I remember I saw a video of myself like a couple weeks later singing "Locked Out of Heaven." And I was just like on the stage. You made me feel
Or
like-"
my favorite is like, hey, Glenn, come sing, Glenn. Glenn, come sing. Glenn is her brother, Reggie. Come sing. Just
I think I
like.
made Amanda sing too. I was just like, everybody
Parents
sing.
were there.
And there was that old man that never stopped dancing. In that
James
little,
Brown. James Brown.
James Brown.
His
One
name was
man
James
that we lovingly
Brown.
called James Brown.
Oh,
Yes.
he was living his best life.
Oh my
There's
God.
always that one guy at all the local venues that just
Yep.
shows up, is so dedicated.
What's his name? Blake Maserati. Eddie Maserati.
Eddie Maserati.
At Disney Springs.
All the Disney Springs people.
Oh.
He's the one with the
Yes.
little like booty short, like all the
Have you seen-
sequins.
You know him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's in the Maserati stuff, and he's like a celebrity in his own
He
right.
is. Everybody
You
knows
see
Eddie
him on
Maserati.
Orlando Reddit was like, they just recently asked like, what's the biggest Orlando celebrity? Eddie Maserati and
Carrot
the
Top.
gold guy. The gold guy.
Oh, the
You know
tax
guy.
guy on
Yeah,
McGuire.
the diamond guy or whatever.
Yes.
What
We
was
buy
it? The
gold.
Diamond Gold Exchange. Or
Yeah. Oh my
whatever.
God.
Whoever you, we need to have him on the podcast.
Where is he?
Who are you?
Gold
You
man.
get in
I
touch
feel
with
like
us.
somebody did a story about him.
I think so. I think
Oh,
they did.
yes,
Yeah.
I think they did.
There have been many stories because he's very, very appreciated. His energy is very good. I used to
forgot
live on
about
that
that
side of town.
man.
He was always on the corner, and he
The
was
gold
very-
mask.
His
hat.
very Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Very.
That's a good gig. Now
Gold
that
lame. I don't know if that's a good gig because he was outside all day long in gold
Hot as
lame.
hell, but
Hot.
he looked like he was enjoying himself.
He did,
cannot
yeah.
devote that amount of energy to dancing in a gold suit with a mask on unless it's really tapping into like your
So
true
that's
soul.
one of those like weird gigs that you were like, how did you ever get it?
How?
Why is it created? I
yeah.
know I had a gig once where I had to dance as a topiary at a pool party.
Okay.
So I was in full green body spandex and covered in like flowers and leaves. And I was like, ah, ha, ha, ha,
I
ha.
love when people can't see my face.
Oh.
I perform so much better if people just have no clue who's there, if I'm in the background. I think that's why I like being a backup singer so much, because I just want to be involved. I don't care if anybody knows who I am. Like, that's not the point of it. It's just like being involved in it all. But I love that. And like all the drag queen-esque gigs that I've done where they've like slapped a wig on me or
Oh.
like some crazy makeup. Like,
You're like, yes,
I
please.
feel like I you know, it helps transform your energy and you kind of like go out the box. I kind of like that.
Absolutely, but it was weird as fuck. But do
Yeah.
either of you have one that you just did a gig where you're like, this?
Oh my
this
God.
is-
So before we dive into our personal stories, can we skim through Facebook really quick to see what people said
Sure.
about their
Oh
bad
my
gigs?
God, yes, I cannot wait.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave people nameless to spare
Yes,
them
don't
government.
Throw them under the bus.
So one of my friends said, so this might not be exactly what you're asking, but as a radio guy, he was like a radio personality, I emceed a Hannah Montana lookalike contest at a middle school. And I also did a live remote broadcast at a dialysis clinic.
Oh, come through.
Can you imagine getting dialysis and it's like, whoa, we're here from WJR. Hey, you're almost done with your treatment, Gladys.
I would.
Oh, Gladys.
Listen, a dialysis is like similar-ish to getting infusions.
Yeah.
If I'm getting an infusion,
No, hell no.
I'm on Benadryl, steroids, and a lot of other drugs that are very harsh.
No.
The last thing I want is for some guy to be
Pew,
like,
pew, pew,
"Look,
pew."
everybody." That's the last- I want to watch memes of dogs doing
Yeah, it's like,
things,
don't talk to me.
And I need to get in a zone. Don't you dare bring
No,
that
we're not
energy
doing
to
that.
me on that day.
Oh my
No,
God.
you do not.
Another friend of ours said, I was hired by a professional third party to be a transformer for a local McDonald's. The costume ended up being a plastic bumblebee Halloween costume from
No.
Spirit. I had
No.
to tape together myself. It was so embarrassing, but luckily no one showed up. So I walked around, handed stuff through the drive-thru, and just entertained people working there. And then somebody else commented on that and said, oh my God, this reminds me of when my boss at the radio station rented a Merlin-style wizard costume. Bright blue stars, moons, pointy hat, white beard, and wanted me to wear it at a remote broadcast so they could tell people to come meet Harry Potter.
Oh my God. Can we also
Was it
get
me?
in
Is that who I think Harry Potter is? Like,
Can we get in touch with the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory people from
Oh my
the
God,
oh,
please.
Oh my God, talk about a bad gig. Oh my God, that I'm so fascinated by that.
But the thing is, I feel like we all possibly would have done that in our
we would have
20s.
done it in our we absolutely
if they were
would
giving
have
me
done
money,
in our
I'd done it
20s.
today.
Exactly. Listen, if you're paying, that's the problem. Is like a lot of these turds out there, are like, oh, I got money to throw your way, and then you show up to the gig and you're like, damn it, man.
Why did
Like,
I do this?
And as an agent who now books performers, the amount of promise you this is a real gig. You are going to get paid. Yeah, well, this is a real actual gig. It's so sad because people have been, put through the ringer of these terrible, terrible gigs, and all they're trying to do is just fulfill their joy of performing. And so many people have just shot that down so hard. It's so sad. We need some standards.
One of the first gigs I ever got, I auditioned for this company, didn't get in, but then they later called me and they're like, hey, we have this convention show. We want you to come do it, blah, 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 blah. Can you? It's this amount of money, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. We did like a number from Cats. We did a number from Stomp,
Jesus.
and we did a number from Chorus Line, right? 3 numbers.
That's so
it
funny,
was
'cause I
like...
was like, chorus line?
I know, right?
Chorus line. For those who are not listening, I did the little
One,
hat
brim.
brim
Yes,
thing.
brim.
But so we did the gig, and like costumes were great, and they painted us the house down for Cats and like all of the stuff. And then my check bounces.
No.
And I'm like,
We're going to talk about this.
so this was like a Cirque style company here in town,
boy.
which I don't think they're here anymore because of this shit, because apparently it happens. So I tried and tried and tried and tried to get my money, and
boy.
nothing was happening, right? It was 11 months at this point. So I go into, when I worked at my old dance studio, I walked in and his business card was down there. And I said to the owner, I said, why is this here? And she goes, oh, he's renting space from me. And I said, let me tell you about this guy.
He
And
did
when
not
I tell
pay
you,
me.
he was due for a rehearsal that night.
Oh, buddy.
Ooh, did
she's-
you wait for him?
No, she stood at the door and said, you can't come in here until you pay him cash.
Good on her. Good on her.
Did he
Wow.
pay?
She's like, you're not coming in. No,
yeah,
your people.
sorry.
What did he say?
I got my money
Good.
after 11 months.
What are the odds that he came to that exact place? Like,
I know.
Oh my gosh.
So
that-
strange, especially when they had a space. Like, that's the weird thing. But
Yeah,
anyway.
that happens a lot. We need to have higher standards for musicians and performers. And
How about a dressing room that is not a closet.
Listen,
That
yes,
part.
but we've all gotten changed in a janitor closet.
Oh, Lord,
before.
if that.
Yeah.
If
or
that, my
cars,
God.
We used to
or-
get changed outside next to the train tracks
Literally.
downtown Orlando, and no, I'm
Yeah.
not joking.
I remember.
Full jock strap out there changing pants as
Ass
it
out.
goes by.
I remember going to a show at Hamburger Mary's once, and it was a rare occurrence where I showed up out of my crypt at before 12 p.m. And it was a very important brunch, and I was like, I have to be there. And one of the drag queens was just projectile vomiting.
Oh, I know who
onto
it
the
was.
onto the railroad tracks at like 11:30 a.m.
Yep.
And I was like,
It was my birthday.
This is the
It was my birthday.
This is the joys of downtown Orlando.
Or it's like Josh Roth throwing up on the railroad tracks. Josh, I love you so much.
Why is everyone throwing up? We need better GI.
Also-
I
health
know,
for
right?
2024.
Okay.
But he
Casey
was
next
dressed
to
as
Ember.
Woody.
Oh my god!
Josh was dressed as Woody.
Oh, that was one of Ginger's late night shows.
Yes, it was one of the shows, and he was dressed as Woody. So whoever was like walking by downtown that night was like, "Oh, you got a friend."
To infinity
my
and
God.
Oh my God.
Like honestly, beyond.
Lord.
else is
Okay.
going on Facebook?
So, another friend said, we got 2 singing telegram stories, which is hilarious. A birthday singing telegram. She dressed as Sally O'Malley from I'm 50.
Book 'em, Dana.
Delivered to a veterinarian who ended up having a pet emergency in one of the rooms. So I had to hide in the room with the caged animals until he was done with his emergency. Our friend Mimi, we fucking love Mimi Lie. All she said was fun at the funeral home.
Oh my god, I forgot about that gig.
So
There's so many crazy gig stories. We could make 17 episodes out of this.
We might have to because we're already over an
Please
hour.
respect
Gigs part 2.
your musicians and your performers because we have been through it.
We've been through it.
So, we got booked at a gig in the Villages, and we were not told until like a few days before, and it was because
It was
of my
literally, I
sleuthing.
think, like, the day before,
Yeah, it was like
or the
my
day of.
sleuthing. Yes, because I was like, "What is? I need to know about this gig." We got no details except it was in the Villages, and I was like, "Let me Google where this is," and it said like Dignity Memorial, and I was like, "Wait." So it turns out that this gig was at a facility owned by Dignity Memorial, which they. Like Woodlawn.
It's a funeral
Yeah, it was a
home.
funeral home essentially, but
A
they
funeral
don't.
home.
But I remember asking them the second we walked in, the girl came out who was like the funeral director or whatever. And I was like, before I stepped foot in this building, I was like, are bodies taken care of here? Or is that another facility and then you bring them? She's like, no. Like we bring them here. So like we don't do any sort of like
I don't know if she was telling
collection.
all the truth.
I don't think so because it didn't.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
I mean,
But the gig ended up being very lucrative. Like those people tipped the shit out of us.
Oh.
But we fucked up that room so bad that we were in. Like they had all this display for
oh my
like
god, we like
send
knocked
grandma
over.
to the moves. We knocked one over by accident because we have all these costumes.
I hope that's how my funeral is, guys. Jack up that Dignity Memorial Funeral Home.
But-
I will leave money to you to pay for all of the.
Oh my
damage.
god!
But
But
the-
they did give us a lot of wine.
I was about to say, like, at
Shit
one
ton of
point,
wine.
they knocked on the door, and it was this little old lady. And of course,
her
me and
heart.
Heather, being who we are, she goes, "Do you guys need anything?" And we were like, "Do you have any wine?"
And they
because
brought
we
the
had
wine.
already bought like a drink at the open bar. This was not a funeral, by the way. This was somebody holding an event in a funeral. I don't understand.
What?
Don't ask questions.
They did that.
It's
on,
cheap. I don't know.
Yeah.
On the show,
But-
Mother, too,
yeah.
So we had stopped by the full bar already,
Uh-huh.
and then this little old lady's like, "Sure," and then she comes back with like both
Bottles.
arms full of bottles. She sets it down.
Yes.
You guys need anything else? And then she'd occasionally just come back in later and drop more.
And
off.
I was driving, and it was the Villages,
We were
and
all
it was
driving.
raining. So I was like, I gotta stop at one point because I ain't trying to get pulled over. But these fools in my car are like, glug, 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 glug. So, all right, we got fun at
have
the
to stay
funeral
hydrated.
home. Another friend of ours said impersonating Meghan Trainor. I got free hair extensions from it, yay! And
Hey.
changing the lyrics to from All About That Bass to All About That Guest for the Client. It was a whole production for their annual sales conference, and it was hilarious. Somebody else said a gig in St. Augustine. Boat party. Drive to the parking lot, load down to the shore, load onto a small boat, ride in the boat to the sandbar in knee-deep water, unload gear from small boat to big
Yes.
boat on sandbar, play gig. And then she said in all caps, strike it all in pitch black of night and
Yes.
take the same route back to the car.
Who is
the
that?
water? It was Judy. My friend Judy.
Okay,
who I
Judy.
do stuff, yeah.
I have done this multiple times as a DJ and musician. I have loaded gear from
So it's
like
pitch black.
knee-deep water. I'm 5'3" on a good day. I've loaded gear and I have done this in knee-deep water, and I have ended up on boats when the original gig was not on a boat.
Oh, God.
Was on land, and then they said, we're going to take this to a boat. I actually was offered to do, I cannot, because you're going to know who this person is, but I was offered to do a gig on a private jet after my normal gig was already done for this person. And then this is a person, the one thing I will say is this, I actually probably can't even say that. Never mind.
Oh my
You don't know
God.
who this person is. So I will not say, but they offered me to go on a private jet the next day, and they were all getting IVs and stuff because they were all like drinking profusely. It was amazing. Like, more power to you. They did it right, but they said, like, can you like DJ on this private jet, and can you do this and that? PJ. It would have been my PJ. My PJ space. And I politely declined, but I was very fascinated by it all. But I have ended up on 2 boats. One, it was supposed to be on a boat, and that was crazy. But it was really, really cool, and that was a Miami Beach story.
Yes.
But the second one was I was DJing on land, and then the people were like, do you just want to like extend, but like we're gonna bring this to the boat? And I was like, okay. But it was in the pitch black darkness,
Oh,
and
God.
I felt like electronics, and everybody
And
Everybody
fish.
was so drunk. Not me, but everybody else was, and whoever made it onto the boat, they just extended me onto the boat. It was a great experience, but I was just like, what
the
is
fuck?
going on?
What is happening?
I have been there, Judy. So more power to you, girl.
Oh my God. Okay. And then my friend said, I was in a drag cast of Rent where we all lip synced to the movie soundtrack with blocking and choreography. The organizer titled it Rent in Review, and we toured the show around Nebraska and Iowa to bars that had ASCAP licenses.
I'm sorry, a what?
ASCAP is like a recording industry. So essentially any bar. So like when you walked into Hamburger Mary's, there was a little sticker on the door that said, we are ASCAP and BMI certified.
yeah.
Meaning they can play whatever they want. So technically, if I opened a bar and didn't get a license from ASCAP or BMI, I can't have a jukebox. I could.
But you could get in
But
trouble.
yeah, so
we have
that
one
is
of those.
hilarious. And then the last good one is DJ Captain Kirk. He said, I DJ'd a wedding where the bride did a surprise and rather sensual ballroom dance performance for her husband and everyone in attendance with her longtime dance partner. Fast forward a few years later, the bride left her husband for the dance partner.
I could have seen that coming. I could have seen that coming.
And
Sorry.
somebody mentioned we're going to tie this into an uncomfortable gig that we've had quite a few times. This says, without a doubt, I was
Stan?
hired to do an 80s themed birthday party in drag. The sound system was a TV in the far corner. Maybe 5 people cared that I was there. The rest were visibly confused, annoyed, put off by my presence. The person that booked me felt so bad that he paid me twice my rate.
Good, because you should.
Who was that?
Because that's the person's fault. That person who booked, that's your fault. I'm sorry, that's on you. You need to tell your people what they are to expect.
Yes.
And you need to respect your performers. I'm all about that. Don't just throw a performer into a thing and be like, dance monkey dance.
So,
Well.
speaking of Dance Monkey Dance,
Oh my god.
So
Heather and I
had this can tie into because that was pretty much the Facebook. Like we got some good ones on Facebook. So that can tie into what I had on my list for one of the worst. Well, not it wasn't bad.
It was
uncomfortable.
awkward.
And my anxiety kicks into overdrive when there's awkwardness and when I know people are kind of like, why is she here? It's different when, if I'm performing in a bar, people know that there's going to be a show.
yes,
So
Right.
they
Not-
know I'm coming.
in somebody's backyard.
Yeah. So this is a gig we used to get booked on for certain holidays. And it was at a private residence. And we had to get dressed in the master bedroom of these people's house.
That's always awkward.
It's
when you're in
so,
somebody's house.
it's where they sleep.
I
Yeah,
know, it's very
but-
weird. I've seen people's like stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm not going to elaborate
It's-
on stuff.
And like
I've
prescription medicine is out, and I'm just
Yes.
like, this is the space where you
Yes.
sleep. Like I could not have
very
that many
weird.
people. It's not that I wouldn't trust
weird.
people. It's like my space where I sleep, my bedroom. It's like you have to
My
keep a
space.
certain
But at least
weird.
it was spacious.
That is true. It was spacious. The people at this party, so the people that booked us were a gay couple, so they were all about us. Like, yes,
With
yay.
kids.
With kids, yeah. Their kids were great. However, the rest of the guests were all straight ass people, and they literally sat there while we're performing. Like, we're right there, and they were just like
Just blink, 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 blink.
the little bicycle
not-
bell from Flavor, like
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding,
Was
ding, just
No
completely-
response, no
Pump your
smiling.
people up for the
Yeah.
awesomeness that they're about to receive. It's
So,
all about communication.
here's
Tell them what they're gonna get.
Yeah, well, yeah. But here's one thing, too, that they don't think about when they want to hire a drag performer.
Mm-hmm.
A drag performer, most of the time, not always, is a lip sync artist,
Yes.
right? So when you're literally a foot away from somebody and you just hear, like, you need to, like, it's so awkward. Because I remember the first time I ever did the show at Mary's for that Christmas show, I thought when I was asked to do it, I thought we were singing live the whole
Yeah.
thing. So I get there and we're lip syncing next to people eating eggs. And I'm like, they can hear I am not singing. So it just makes it that much worse.
Yes.
Is that... And not to mention the one time we were doing the Christmas one and the Christmas tree fell on me during the performance.
Oh my God, that's
We have so
right.
many. We need to continue this like 3
Oh
times
my
over.
God.
This is going to have to be a continuation because we are over time.
Oh my
We
God.
are over
Should
time.
we should we do like 2 parts? Should we do the best of gigs, the worst of gigs?
Well, we've already talked about it. We'll just
the
do a
best
gigs
of
part
times.
2.
Okay.
But before we go,
So
we
many
want to
good
start a new segment here called
What's the T?
It's a Spelling Bee. So last week we had a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun trying to spell words. Nostalgia.
Which I
and
think is going to come up again because I'm using the same ones. I'm too lazy to find a new
it's
one.
fine. But we're going to ask Lindsay to spell some words for us.
Okay.
All right,
let's
you
go.
ready?
So if you can make sure you put the...
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Way.
Do you want to hear it in a sentence?
W-A-Y? Like,
Well-
yeah, sure.
The curd has separated from the whey.
God. Please, something dumb.
There's also definition origin if you need
Yeah.
it.
Just like a real spelling bee.
Yes.
I hate you guys. W-H-E-Y.
Good job.
Yay!
Thank you so much.
They applauded for you. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
These
for
are
the
just
next
going to be
one?
the same ones from the last
They
episode.
are. No, that's why I need to find a new one.
Autochthonous.
I've had at least 4 drinks at this point. Okay, what is it?
Autochthonous.
Can you use it in
Okay,
a
he's
sentence?
saying it dumb. I
Hear
can't.
it in a sentence.
Autochthonous species to the region have all but been wiped out because of illegally introduced animals.
Okay, this man English is not man's first language.
Here's the definition.
Definition 1. Indigenous, native, an autochthonous people, for example. Definition 2. Formed or originating in the place where found. An autochthonous rock.
Autochthonous?
I can't even say it,
Like,
let alone
he's got
spell
like
it.
a- he's got like a-
Autochthonous. Let's hear it one more time.
Autochthonous.
Oh, tough. There's
saying
definitely
it
no,
weird.
no. I think he has like a little bit of a lisp with that H.
Autochthonous.
There's an H in there.
Okay. Autochthonous.
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 Yes.
Give it a shot. Go.
Okay. O.
Oh.
Autochthonous. T. Hold on.
It's hard to do without paper.
It is.
It's like if I had it right, and that's where I struggle as I rely too much on my keyboard.
Yeah, right?
To type. I see that little red line. I see what I did wrong. And I move on.
What's the origin again?
Here's the origin.
Well, I'm very serious about this.
1795 to 1805. Autochthon. Autochthonous.
Autochthon. There's an N, maybe.
Is there a C or a K in it? I don't know.
See, she has to actually type it in order to find out if it's real.
Ridiculous. Okay.
So here we go.
O-T-O.
T-O.
T-H.
T-H.
A-N.
A-N.
O-U-S. Autochthonous.
O-U-S.
That's what I'm hearing. That's not. It's
O-U-S.
Here we go. Hold on. God bless her. A-U-T-O-C-H-T-H-O-N-O-U-S.
See, I was right about that H and the N.
I'm gonna blame it on the guy's pronunciation.
A-U-T-O-C-H-T-H-O-N-O-U-S.
See,
You can take a
I was going more glamorous with Fergie. O-U-S.
All right, here we go. Are you ready?
This will be the
for
last
your-
one.
Oh, yes. Okay, here we go.
Hydroponic.
Oh, well, I know that one. HYDROPONIC. Right?
Yay!
Okay, no, she has to fail one more time.
What'd you say?
One more time. She's got to
One
fail
more.
at
Okay,
something.
yes. Okay, here we go.
She can't do better than us.
Prospicience.
Oh, well,
Let's try one more
spoke too soon.
Prospicience.
definition.
The act of looking forward. Foresight.
Oh, let's use it in a sentence.
The dentist prospicience helped lower the rate of fillings for his patients.
Prospicience.
Prospicience.
PROSPIENCE. Prospicience.
Check it. Wrong.
They do. They laugh.
One of me, bitch.
You were close. It's PROSPICIENCE.
Okay.
Oh, you were so close.
Yes. Well, are you happy she failed?
Yes, I
Well,
am.
my prospicience told me that I was going to get that wrong.
Your ornithologist also said that, but whatever that fucking word was.
Orenthal James Simpson. Are we doing a Gigs 2.0?
We will, but
Okay.
maybe not
Please,
immediately
let's do
next
it.
week, but we'll do it again in the future
Yes,
for sure.
we
Think
will.
of more and more as
Yes,
it comes,
same.
as we keep talking.
Same.
and
This
drinking.
podcast will be 3 weeks long. We keep going.
But I think that the world of gigs and performance is so weird and odd, and not a lot of people know
No.
what we do behind the scenes. And I think
Like-
people will respect us more knowing all the crazy shit that we've done, like leading up to this, and all of the time and effort and energy that we put into doing what we do. And I think it's good to bring it to light and like kind of be lighthearted about it and say, like, we've done this crazy, ridiculous stuff. I think it's good to talk about it and say,
Oh.
like, yeah, we've done the Versace mention and gotten dressed
Yep.
in a janitor closet.
Yeah, I tell people like I embarrass myself for a living, so I'm not afraid to like talk about all these
Yes.
things.
I think it's a very untapped territory.
It is.
And we don't have to throw anybody under the bus. Like,
No.
it's all good. We're very thankful for where we've been, what got us to where we are now.
And we
we're
know
gonna
our
continue
boundaries.
going.
It's like, I ain't doing that. No.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Oh,
then
boundaries.
bring some insight to performers that are starting out, going like, "Yeah, I've paid my dues," or like, "Yeah, we've all had some
Or
stories."
you don't have to do that to pay your dues.
Correct.
That's part of it.
Exactly.
Part
If
of
it's
it.
now, if it's not worth it to you, please
Don't
not
do it.
do it. There are other gigs around the corner. I think that's what should be the takeaway from this. Like,
Yes.
we've all done it for you, so you don't have to do
Yes.
it.
And you
If
can
it's-
say no.
You
can
can
say no.
always
You can
say
say
no.
no.
It's okay. There's going
It's
to be
hard.
other opportunities around the corner, so don't you worry.
Yes.
Now, one last thing. Can I put the two of you on a spot?
Oh, shit.
Yes. Let's
I
go.
can. Okay,
Let's
great.
do it.
So, speaking of another gig, these two lovely ladies sang a concert at my birthday when I turned 30.
Oh, my God.
Remember, at the Parliament House.
By the
But it
pool.
by the pool, but it started raining, and I was wondering if you two could give me a little bit of "To Be Real" real quick.
I fucking knew it. I was like, he's going to ask us to sing.
Well, I mean, we've been talking about singing all day long. I think we should give the kids a little taste. Who knows? You might get sent back to Asia.
to Asia. Oh, my God.
Ooh, your love's for real now. I know that your love is my love. My love is your love. Our love is here to stay.
What you think?
What you feel now?
And that's all you get.
No,
Keep going, bitch.
To be real.
I'm gonna join in now. No, let me. No, my song is. Okay, thank you so much for listening and cut their mics. Cut the mics. Cut the mic. Oh wait.
What is it? The sounds of the
Oh my God.
90s or
Yeah.
whatever.
Sounds of
Pure Moods episode.
the
We're gonna
sounds
go to
of.
Pure Moods episode.
Pure Moods.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm not going anywhere.
Or Nako
Oh my God,
Flow.
we'll just record
I know
another
you
one.
live downstairs.
You knew where I lived
I
before.
Surrounded by
Thanks for
people.
listening. Thanks for watching. Find us on the social medias. Heather and Steven get into.
And Lindsay, where can they book you if they want to book a anything.
Oh my gosh, thank you for asking. My company name is Lindsay Lee, Lindsey. No AY.
No.
AY. Y'all.
Not in this
the
house.
phonetic spelling only. Lindsey, Leigh Music Inc. So lindsayleemusic.com. Thanks, guys.
Yay!
for everything.
Email us if you have suggestions at the same email.
Yes.
Heather and
Subscribe
Stevie
to
Mood.
us.
Mood soundtrack for
Yes.
Oh my God, we could do a concert season, like a concert series.
Get changed in your janitor closet.
Pure moods in concert.
Oh my! Oh,
Versace Mansion 2024. We're manifesting it right now.
Pure moods in musical.
don't tempt me with a good time.
I know. Listen, Fringe Festival next year.
Fringe Festival. I fucking have a theater.
Let's go.
All right, everybody. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Sail away,
sail away.
Is
sinking.
I'm
on a boat, motherfucker. Don't you ever forget.
James Simpson.